we are all online on Discord. So after this session and all the sessions that you probably get the chance to enjoy today, if you want to keep the connection with all of us, we're all in Discord. So please get on Discord.
Yes, we have a dedicated channel for the education category. So any questions you have there, we have mentors help you there. We have a dedicated channel for technical questions as well. So yeah, we can answer questions here and then also continue the conversation after. This is just the start.
Right. So Ali, just to start a conversation here. So we are, well, I don't know if we are in the middle of a pandemic or in the post-pandemic era, hard to figure out. But one of the things that I think COVID has been exposing us is to the fact that people for a long time, and even in some countries, even today, they cannot just go to classes, right? They cannot just go to a class. And let's be honest, technology and schools were not ready for full-time education online, right? Like people used to get ready to mocks and I believe like certain areas of knowledge might be more suitable for online than others. So what are your impressions about like what is expected for the upcoming years in the education area and how teachers and students can actually get back to normal?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've learned, like you were saying, that a full-blown 100% remote learning is not necessarily the answer. I'm sure that the students on the call can empathize with that as well, that there were aspects of the educational experience that were unable to be translated and effectively with 100% of remote learning. So I think keeping in mind that as you think about building technology into the educational experience, that it does need to be a bit of a hybrid approach, or thinking about what are some of the aspects from your experience as students or talking to some of your peers that can be enhanced by technology. So not just always thinking about just 100% remote learning, but other aspects in your journey as a student. And so, as we've mentioned so many times today, going out and identifying your user, your customer, and talking to them and understanding what are, for yourself, some of the pain points throughout that journey. I mean, as students, you have a great perspective there, and then understanding from your diverse network of your peers as well, what are some of the things that haven't been great about their educational experience, or thinking about it from an educator's perspective as well. So when we think about the education space, there are, I would say, different areas that you can tackle, right? You can think about some earlier aspects in your education, pre-higher education. So thinking about K through 12, thinking about the higher education experience, thinking about as it comes to lifelong learning, right? I mean, here at Microsoft, we continue to talk about that we are learn-it-alls and we continue to educate ourselves. So how do you think about that educational experience once you're out of the traditional education system? And right, as David mentioned in the chat, any questions you have, we are here to answer.
Absolutely, and of course we have Pablo Maramendi as well, and a lot of our troop here available. Also, I see Morgan and Max. If you have any questions about the competition and projects, more than happy, we are here to help you out. So Ali, in the same direction that you're mentioning, so as educators, what the educators might be expecting, what do they need from technology, right? Trying to figure out like what cool ideas we could bring to life in the Magic Cup. Let's think about it for the educator's perspective for a minute, right? What do you think they need to actually be successful during this transition into, like, today the world is online, but we all have the hope to eventually transition into something hybrid and eventually get to what we used to call normal? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think it's thinking about what does that like traditional experience look like in the classroom, and thinking about, like, from a student's perspective, right? How are you interacting with your professors or with your educator? What's the information that they need to have to be able to support you in your educational journey? And making sure that as students, you're supported, you're getting the right knowledge that you need to be progressing and to be supported moving forward as you think about your careers. And so for educators, being able to maintain that kind of relationship with students, and to, I would say also, like, make sure that the content that they're teaching students continues to be relevant, right? Especially as we see just the work of the future and the jobs of the future. And so making sure that our educational content and that we're staying up to date with what the world needs from a job and a skills perspective as well.
Right. I appreciate that perspective yours about, like, yes, like it's not only students who are being suffering, right, from this new model, and educators as well requires a lot of support. So Ali, we have a couple of questions over there for you. So the first one is from Abdul asking, students will make projects in groups. So yeah, the answer is yes. Like we are encouraging you actually be more successful in groups, right? I think the max cap is 4, right? But it can be 2, can be 3, right? You can do it alone if you want, but definitely we want you to encourage you to actually find a group. If you don't have a group, you can go to Discord. We have a channel there where you can polish your skills and maybe find out someone who wants to join forces with you. The other question again from, yeah, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, I think, David, to this point around like partnering with others and having a diverse team, right? Like your educational experience for yourself might look different than someone else, right? So I think that really speaks to the power of having a diverse team where you all can bring your own perspective on the problem that you're trying to tackle, as well as making sure that you are going out to speak with a diverse group of users as you're building out your idea and testing it and incorporating feedback into your idea.
Right. So Ali, there's an interesting question here, and I think in all the AMAs today, we even seen this specific for categories, which is like, this is coming from Mohamed Samil Subar. Is there any helpful resources like documents or articles or videos created specifically for this education category?
Yeah, so we pulled a few links. I think David shared one above in the chat of the education category featured from the 2021 Imagine Cup, which are, I would say, I mean, when you think about education, right, like there are so many different ways you can take it. There are so many different solutions you can bring and problems you can tackle in the space. It could be related to computer science education. It could be around reading progress. It could be around bringing more power to student data. So there, thank you, David, for just reposting that in the chat. So I would encourage everyone to look at the previous winners from Imagine Cup. We do also have a module on Microsoft Learn that talks about, I believe it's creating a chatbot to help students learn with Azure Bot Services. So good opportunity for you to see how some of Azure technologies are being used in an example to support a problem or to help provide a solution within the education space.
Yes, great. So just FYI to everyone, as part of what Ali's mentioned is links, I'm also including Azure for Students. Again, this is for everyone in the competition. You can actually claim your benefit, $100 to start working on Azure with a lot of incredible resources available for you. All you have to do is go to that link that I shared there. And also this great content that Ali was mentioning about responsible bots and Azure for Students, there's also a link there that you can actually take a look. This is a curriculum that's pretty good as well. We have another question for you, Ali. Let me just try and there's where is it? Let's see if I don't miss it. So Paolo answered the question about the, oh yeah, type of software. What, this is coming from Abdul as well. What type of software student will be used?
So, I mean, the requirement for Imagine Cup is that the submission needs to be built with Azure. So the software possibilities, I mean, it can really range, right? I mean, so we're not saying exactly that there's a particular software or technology solution that you need to use, right? I mean, there's a variety, and as you look through the different winners of Imagine Cup, I mean, you have like Hands-On Labs, which was our education winner from last year, was technologies that allowed for remote instruction so that students were able to get a hands-on experience. So I would say that the possibilities are endless, if you will. There's different technical solutions that you can bring. And so we encourage you to attend the workshops that we're hosting tomorrow on Lobe and IoT and Power Apps and web development. And so to be able to get a better understanding there and think about what some of the different technology opportunities are, but we'll also encourage you that to make sure that you're thinking through about your user and your problem initially, right? Rather than jumping immediately at the technical solution, thinking about what's that problem that you're trying to solve, and then aligning your solution from a technical perspective to address that and making sure that that's the right solution.
Right. And as you've seen if you all folks are been taking the time to look into like the recordings of the Epic this morning, before you think about the technology, what we're more interested in is like you find a problem to solve within the technology, right? And well, Microsoft is very open about a ton of technologies that, for example, we don't own, but we encourage you to actually look into it. If you go to our Learn platform, you will see like we talk about Python, we talk about open platforms, a bunch of stuff, like you can definitely take advantage of it. So here's one interesting for you, Ali. So Jaflet is asking us, or he's actually giving this comment about like maybe mixed reality solutions could help to make learning accessible for other students. So what do you think about mixed reality in this field?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there is a lot of potential. I mean, I think about it from like an accessibility standpoint, in terms of it being able to provide greater opportunities, but also thinking about the educational systems in terms of adoption as well. So I think it's important when you're thinking about that type of solution in the education space to think about some of the individuals or like the stakeholders, if you will, that are involved there and how they'll be a part of that solution, and also how to drive the adoption there, right? Because we want to think about your solutions having impact on the community and the world, and so thinking through how will this scale out to your community and be an effective solution to tackling your problem of choice.
Right, and definitely mixed reality is like a trending, right? Technology. Yes. I think after, what was the name of this game of Pokemon, that everybody gets nuts in their phones and you see people in the parks? Well, that was for a game, but also that can definitely be a solution potentially to achieve certain aspects of education that could be challenging. But I like your point about like, yeah, you need to be inclusive about what people can do. Pokemon Go, yeah, I'm sure Max was playing about that all the time. I'm sure it is. So
yeah, well, it reminds me a little bit of what like Seth was talking about earlier in the Epic talks about kind of like throwing out like AI and blockchain. And so like, yes, we like hear all of these popular buzzwords. And so it really is important for you to think through what it is that you are trying to solve, and then making sure that you're choosing the appropriate technology to build your solution.
Right. There's another question here, which I'm going to just address right now. They're asking for email addresses, so where they can send queries about this field. Definitely the best place to talk to us or to talk to anyone of the Microsoft is in the Discord server. So we have special channels there. There's a channel called Ask a Mentor in Education. So definitely, if you already have access to Discord, that's the best place. Ali's there. I am there. There's a ton of people there willing to help you out with this kind of aspects, or if you need help with technical aspects, just go back to Discord and definitely you can reach us there. So there was interesting question from Pablo, actually, our director, which is like, for you and me, how technology actually changed our education journey. You want to take that one first?
Yeah, that's a big one. David, do you have any thoughts? As I think my educational
Yeah,
journey
well,
some twists and
yeah,
turns.
that's true. Yeah. Well, first of all, I have when I started my bachelor degree in computer science in back in Costa Rica from where I am. So it was everything, even when this is a computer science class, right? Everything has to be in the class, meaning like,
Yes.
and I'm not that old, but even projects, even that they if they leave us projects, we actually have to code in the labs, right? So there's no internet, no nothing like, oh yeah, go back to home. So we literally have to spend 4 to 5 days not taking showers, barely eating, just coding in the university labs because we cannot leave until we finish the project, right? So and that was like, yeah, you cannot really imagine me after, a lot of, I guess, energy drinks and stuff like that just to try to keep the pace. I guess that probably had a lot of consequences now. But and as you can see now, I just actually recently get admitted to the Georgia Tech to pursue a master's there. And guess what? Now the master's is everything online, right? I don't even need to move from where I live today in Washington State. I will attend all the classes at my time, my convenience. Tests and everything, exams, projects will be automatically reviewed. I like that one. Automatically reviewed by software that the university has to check if my code is valid and everything. So I believe that definitely it's exciting time, even in the middle of the pandemic and everything. It's exciting time to have opportunities to educate yourself, right? And if you think like, well, they used to tell you like, yeah, if you want to learn something, if you want to get a good job in certain industry, you have to go to the university. I absolutely encourage everyone that if you have the opportunity to go to the university, go to the university. But the fact is, like, there's a tons of materials, tons of stuff that you can learn by yourself. That's another big change, right? Like, in our times, again, we're not that old. You actually have to really go to the university physically to learn something. Now, with the internet, with all the resources, just take a look to Microsoft Learn. Well, we have free for all of you, so you can pick and learn whatever you want, right?
Yeah, no, completely. And I think, and I'm not that old either, but I also do recall spending some very late hours in computer
Yeah.
labs working on my own coding assignments when I was an undergrad, and those were some dark times. So it's nice
Right.
to see some advancements there. I've seen some really cool examples around providing more what's the word I'm looking for, like deeper education and instruction as it relates to reviewing code. And so like coming into a to the code and being able to better understand, not even just through like comments, but more of an interactive experience that like gets you up to speed much quicker. And so thinking about, I mean, I think we realize that like hands-on learning, project-based, something that has that type of interactive component is going to produce a much more effective learning experience. So seeing
Right.
that type of interaction and engagement in something that was traditionally a little bit, or is I guess technically asynchronous, right? Since it's not more of like a live instruction and a live review, but being able to bring in some of those types of like engagement aspects while still being able to kind of like preserve resources, right? So thinking about like someone doesn't need to sit with you and kind of walk through the code, but there is that type of like engagement and the types of assessments that are built into that review. So
Right.
those
Right.
things have kind of been really interesting to me too.
Yeah. And one thing that I found interesting in a problem which I believe is not being solved today is how people can still have that engagement. Like if you're in the school and you're working in a project, I know that we have a lot of ways to collaborate together without go next to each other, but still there's certain experiences that you're missing there that maybe as a student you can identify and find a solution to cover it, right? Because yeah, you can code all together, which is great, and you can share documents and everything, but there's a part we're still missing. Like I remember in the middle of the night and someone working in the project and saying like, hey, someone knows how to fix this, and someone just jump into the whiteboard and start discussing in the room where we are in the lab. discussing all those experiences and how they will approach a problem. I think we're still not have a good solution for that. I don't think virtually we don't have that kind of, unless we're gonna get everyone with with the Microsoft HoloLens, which are kind of expensive right now. But it will be an interesting experience. So let's see if we have more questions there. I think we have a comment from Anush, which says, with education going digital, it is now possible to explore new frontiers and tech things that wasn't possible with physical. HoloLens for everyone? No, Max, I don't think so. Classes, a good example will be chemistry labs, how many schools can afford to buy chemicals for all the students to experiment with. Yeah, I don't know if you want to mention about like one of the competitors from the last season, where they did this remote technology to actually access labs in the university because of the COVID, because students cannot actually be on. I don't know if you want to refer to that one, but that was actually a really interesting approach.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a valid idea, right? Identifying, like, I think when it comes to education, like, there are, well, I will say generally, schools and educational institutions, especially in earlier education in K through 12, do not have a ton of money to be able to spend on some of those resources, whether it's books or technology or materials, as well as with the example with HoloLens, not HoloLens, hands-on labs, same letters, different word. With hands-on labs, thinking about underserved communities and being able to provide them those hands-on learning experiences for those both that have not been able to do so because of the pandemic, but also outside of the pandemic did not have as many of those types of hands-on experiences given the what educational offerings were offered in that area. So thinking about what are some of the gaps, right, where you might have some areas where they do have those types of opportunities and some where they don't, and being able to fill those in with both a mix of from a hardware and a software perspective.
Right.
Yeah, and
so
David,
yeah, I'm sharing some stuff
trend,
there. Yeah, some stuff that I want to share with you. And actually, we are just 5 minutes about to finish. But I'm sharing these two articles that actually Ellie and I were discussing. And one that I want to brought here for inspiration is the one from the UNESCO. This is a very interesting document because this is a document about like the UNESCO with their experts discussing like, okay, how education should look like and what kind of public policy the countries need to take in consideration to actually cover the gap, right? Gaps that are going to be exist because students will not be able to actually get classes on time, right? In some countries is the case. And this is a very good document to read. I recommend it. But and they actually coming up with 9 ideas that they will recommend. Number 3 and number 6, which I mentioned, there are pretty interesting. And for example, number 3 talks about like value the teaching profession and the teacher collaboration. Like teachers requires a lot of tools and stuff today to actually accomplish their work, which is pretty much the same or even more than what they used to do now. Because, for example, if they want to plan a lab or if they need to assign some students a class virtually, actually that requires more work from them and not necessarily easier to do with the tools that we have today. And the other part which is interesting about this document is like the idea number 6, which is talking about like make these tools available to everyone, right? Because this is about education. This is about educate everyone, about be diverse and inclusive at the same time, having in consideration, as we were talking about hardware, right? Like it will be cool that everyone has HoloLens, but the truth is that technology is very expensive and also very complex to implement today, at least from now on. In the meantime, what can we do? What things can we build that actually can cover more people into these kind of aspects, right? So take a look into that. If you have comments or stuff, you can go into Discord and make some comments there as well if you want. Yeah. So Ali, any final thoughts? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I will say one thing that actually came up in one of the other social good category AMAs. I think when you think, I mean, I know I feel this way, is when you think about education, and David was starting to talk a little bit around like the different policies that different countries are considering, right? And everything is very it's very complicated, right? And everything is kind of interwoven, if you will, and dependent on different aspects. And so I would really encourage you all to kind of think about it in smaller steps and smaller chunks. I know that was some of the advice that was shared earlier in another AMA. So not to get so overwhelmed, but think about it in smaller aspects and in building blocks as you're thinking about the problem that you want to tackle and the solution that you want to bring to solve that problem.
Absolutely. That's great. Thank you, Ali. So if there's no more questions, well, we're going to give it 2 more minutes if there's any last question. But some friendly reminders again. Discord, that's the place where everyone is. Microsoft specialists in different areas that can help you out to come up with a good pitch. Remember, it's coming. You have November 1st is when we're expecting that you submit your epic challenge. Couple of things that I've been seeing in other sessions being asked is like, do I need a prototype? No, you don't need a prototype for the epic. You just need your pitch, right? And this is actually a great opportunity. You can actually make finals just with a great, fantastic, and very impressive epic for the judges. So keep that in mind. Go to magiccup.com. If you have questions, just go to Discord, ask those questions. We definitely will help you out. So it will be a great opportunity if you want to actually take it. And yes, as Ali mentioned, this is optional. If not, you just go move forward your project, right? If you don't have a team, if you're looking for someone to join the team, Discord is the place. We have a channel there where you can actually look for people as well. So, and we are super excited. I think we're just super happy to see what ideas, what problems of the world you're planning to solve. So with that, Ali, your last comment, and we're done for today.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We know it's optional, but we definitely encourage you to do so. Right? It gives you, and if you win the Epic Challenge, you skip some of those steps. But at the same time, I mean, we've talked so much today about involving your user, your customer. We've talked about gathering feedback and how important that is, and integrating that throughout your entire development process. And so, definitely encourage you to submit and use that as an opportunity to get more practice, to be able to get feedback on your pitch and your proposed plan for what you plan to build.
All right, then. So on behalf of all the team of Microsoft who actually been spending the time from earlier in the morning to actually give you this great experience, thank you. And remember that tomorrow is the technical, how we call it, the technical sessions. So yes, you can go and look in Discord to find out more information on this. Where we'll be more than happy to see you there.